just focus on the most important next step. Like a lot of these things that we tackle, whether it's like a new hobby or a new skill that you're learning, or maybe you're buying a piece of real estate. It's like, yeah, we look at the entire process from point A to point B. There might be 100 things that you need to do, but it's like, just look at it as like, just take step one today, and then tomorrow take step two, and then at that point you take step three. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of The Report Saturday edition. I got my co-host today. I got Miss Alex Johnson. Alex, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. How's it going?
It's going really well. It's been a little bit since you've been on the Saturday edition with me, but things are rocking and rolling. I'm like, how is it already August? I have no idea. This whole year is completely flying by, and we're already planning our holiday party.
I know. It's crazy. I can't believe it's August. We're planning the holiday party. It's going to be super fun in December, but yeah, time is flying.
Time is flying, and you just got a new place, and
I
you got a new
did.
car. You're
Yeah.
rocking and rolling. I'm excited for you.
Lots of changes.
Yeah, tell us about your new place.
So I moved to San Diego a little over 5 years ago, which is I met you at my old place in Bankers Hill. We used to be neighbors for a hot second, and then I've been in the same place ever since. And it was good to me. Very, very good place. A nice place to start, but it just needed a change and needed a little upgrade. So I didn't move very far, just a little Italy, but just a fresh start. It's gonna be it's kind of like a loft vibe, the tall ceilings, little outdoor space. So I'm really excited just for the change.
I'm excited for the housewarming because you sent some photos to
I
our
know.
thread. And for listeners out there listening, like Alex's new spot has a massive balcony,
Mm-hmm.
probably almost 1,000 square foot balcony, and a peak view of the bay.
Yeah.
Nice little sunset shot.
Mm-hmm.
Great for Pino too.
Yeah.
The Boston Terrier.
I did it all for my dog.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Well, you did it for yourself too.
Just kidding.
But yeah, I'm excited for
Yep.
the housewarming. Speaking of housewarming, we have a yacht meetup this Saturday, actually the evening that this episode's going to go out. So yeah,
2
so if you're
days.
listening to this episode, it is tonight, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. This is our second to last yacht meetup of the year.
Mhm.
However, our last one is in September for the season, and traditionally we've done them kind of in the warm summer months, but I'm like, yo, let's keep these things going year round. Maybe we don't do them monthly, but maybe we just do them like bi-monthly in the wintertime.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
They're always a hit, but it's good to keep it special too. I feel like if you overdo something, it kind of loses its specialness. So
This is true. So what if we do September, and then maybe we do one in December, like a holiday yacht meetup, and then maybe we do one in, like, I don't know, February or March?
we'll see. We'll see.
I guess anything is possible.
Yeah.
But excited. For anyone listening, we'd love to have you at any of our yacht meetups and any of our monthly meetups here at Beers and Deals. Our last Beers and Deals in was it June? Yeah, no, it was July. It was the biggest one we've ever had. I feel like every turnout gets bigger and
Yeah.
bigger and bigger. I'm like, fuck, we're going to need a new venue soon.
I know.
We had almost 300 people show up to the last one. And this next one, we got Carlton Dennis coming down for a podcast and a meetups. It's August 14th, 5:30 p.m. Here in downtown San Diego. It's rooftop. So if you listen to this and you're like, man, we'd love to connect with you guys, come out. It's a great time. We've been hosting this meetup for 5 years now. It's San Diego's biggest real estate investing meetup. And Carlton Dennis is going to be in town. He is like literally one of the smartest and coolest dudes, and he's a bad dude that I know out there in the industry. But anyways, that said, that brings us to this topic of today's episode. Those that wait for the perfect plan never play the game. And I think this is a very important lesson. This is something that I think about all the time. It's something that I've had to kind of teach to myself, because I think growing up, I was taught to not make a lot of mistakes and play it safe. And, I think for most of us going to school in the school system, it's like they punish you if you get bad grades on a test. They punish you if you don't do your homework, right? And so people are afraid to make a mistake in the real world because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that in all reality, entrepreneurship and real estate investing, like, you have to be okay with the unknown. You have to be okay with making mistakes, because ultimately there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be shit that pops up, and it's inevitable. Things are going to happen. Like, our hotel got flooded. One of our hotels here in San Diego got flooded out back in January. There was record rain. And it's like, you can't plan for those kind of things. Insurance didn't cover a dime. And so guess what? We hustled, we grinded, we figured it out. Ultimately, we had to dig deep. But like, those are the things that you just can't plan for. And so there's going to be mistakes. Not every deal is going to go according to plan. Not every business is going to go according to plan. But one thing I've learned is, like, things are never as good as they seem, and things are never as bad as they seem. Everything is temporary. But one of the major components of this whole like theme is there's a lot of decisions that need to be made, and on a weekly basis, there's hundreds of decisions that need to be made, and ultimately, 99% of those decisions, really don't matter. 2 months from
Mhm.
now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, you're going to forget about all those decisions that you made, and there's really only a handful of decisions that you will make throughout your lifetime that actually really matter. And if you break it down to an entire year, there might only be a couple decisions that you make throughout an entire year that actually really shape your life, right? And so all these little decisions that we think are important, in all reality, most of them really don't matter. And I think the idea is just make a decision and roll. Like I look back to my old partners. I broke up with them a couple years ago and I love them. We're friends. They've been on this podcast and I support them and I'm big fans of them. However, one of the reasons I left them, the main reason, is because every single decision that we had to make would be like a 6 hour grueling meeting, or it might be a week long decision. And I'm like, dude, you can't operate through life like that. Life is already short enough as it is. And, I always say like months is the best way to measure how much time we have left. And, for me being 30, I'm going to be 39 next week, actually, which is
Yeah, it's
freaking
your
crazy.
birthday.
I have about 450 months left until average life expectancy age is 77. And so life is already short enough as it is. And so why are we going to spend weeks and sometimes months to make one decision? So, with us, and I tell the team all the time, you know this better than me, Alex, like I'm like, guys, let's just make a fucking decision and roll. I don't care if it's the wrong decision. Let's just make a decision and go and let's just keep going. And if it's the wrong decision, we'll pivot and we'll learn from it. We'll get better. And it is what it is. But, in the same week that, someone might be spending an entire week to make one or two decisions, we've made 100 decisions. And if you compound that over weeks and months and years, that is the difference of someone making it to the college level and playing basketball in D1 and becoming Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. Is like, you just got to be putting up the shots. It's about the at bats. It's about the reps. And that you could apply this to everything in life. This is not just business. It's not just real estate investing. Like, it's everything. And I'm sure there's components of your life that you're like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a good point. Like, I think we're just taught from such a young age of like, get good grades, go to school. And like, you're always so nervous to make the wrong decision because that's like not the structure of like how we are when we're young. But I think that, as you get older, you know that life is about making mistakes and learning from them. That's how you grow. And if you don't make a decision at all, you're never going to know if it's right or wrong. So I think it's all about just going all in and making the pivot if necessary. I've been talking to a couple people recently about possibly them starting their podcast, for example, and like some of them, are like so nervous or like are waiting for like the perfect plan or the perfect guest or all these things that are kind of becoming roadblocks, but in reality, like, you kinda tell people and, like, I've told people, it's like, you just have to put yourself out there, and, like, that's how you're gonna learn and get better. You might look back and cringe at your first episodes, you probably will, or,
Yeah.
like, your first content you put out, your
Hmm.
first episodes, like, that but that's how you get better, and now it's, I think, it's just going for it and, making the pivot if necessary.
Yeah, I agree with that, and so especially with the podcast and the content, it's like, you wanna have everything lined up and ready to go, and you wanna look great for the first one, but in all reality, it's like no one's really listening to their first podcast episode anyways. And the way the algorithms are on social media, it's like, if you put out a bad piece of content, like, it doesn't push it out to anyone, so no one's gonna really see it anyways. And so, people really are only gonna see your good content. But that said, I think the purpose with the content, the purpose of the podcast is just to get started. Once you get started, then it's like, okay, focus on getting 1% better with the next episode. Get focused on getting 1% better with that next piece of content that you push out. And like, if you look back at a lot of people don't realize this, but this is my second podcast. My first one I had with my old partners. And like, if you go back and listen to my first 30 episodes, I was terrible. I was nervous. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have speaking skills or interviewing skills. And so, guess what though? I did it over and over and over. And I remember my first time having like an in-person podcast, I was like nervous. I remember it was actually with, what's his name? Who's coming on our hotel mastermind call next week? Yeah, Kenny Simpson. Shout out to Kenny Simpson. He is a badass real estate investor, but also just understands the capital markets and everything that's going on with the economy. He's coming on our hotel mastermind call next week, Tuesday, but he has a podcast here in Mission Valley, San Diego, and he invited me to come on my first ever in-person podcast. And I remember like, I was so nervous. I was like, whoa, like, this is not behind a computer screen anymore. There's like cameras and there's like people
Yeah.
watching. And I remember like my hands got so sweaty that like literally like there was like a pool of water on the desk.
Oh.
And I was like, we had to stop the show. And I was like, hey,
Oh.
do you guys have any paper
Oh
towels? It
my
was so
god.
embarrassing.
That's weird to think about now.
Yeah. But like it just goes to show that like anything in life, like it's gonna be uncomfortable at first. You're not gonna be good at first. And then if you do it over and over, you get the at bats in, you get the reps in, you will fucking get better. And I remember my first time like interviewing someone like in person, like a bigger name guest, it was Tariq El Musa. And I was like so nervous. I'm like, oh my God, we're going to Tariq's house up in Newport Beach. His wife Heather was there, and I was like freaking the cameras, and I was so nervous. And now I'm just like, I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm just like, whatever. It's just like, it's easy now. I'm very comfortable. And actually, I watch guests come in now that like it's their first podcast or two in person. I see them they tell me like, hey, like, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm like, dude, don't even sweat it. Like, it's going to be easy. Cause I know it's like, it is going to be easy. Once you get done with it, get through with it, it's like, okay, it's not bad. But I always like also pride myself in like making the other person feel comfortable.
Yeah, it's just like a conversation.
It is.
Mhm.
And it's not just the pod, but like if I'm out having dinner or like lunch with whoever,
Mhm.
everyone's got a different personality. And I always want other people to feel comfortable hanging out with
Yeah.
me.
You pick up on those things.
I try to. I
Yeah.
try to.
I think too, like sometimes with people trying to like make the perfect decision, like they get analysis paralysis a lot. And it's like, and I think it's just human nature. It's natural. Like I struggle with this sometimes too. You want to see the full picture. Like you want to know like, where this is going to lead, but really sometimes like you just have the next step. And something I try to remind myself is I don't have to like see like the end or like the full picture. Like I just have to make take the next step. And a lot of times it's just a stepping stone. It's not like where you're going to be forever or like whether, it's if you're trying to make decisions, it doesn't have to be forever, but it just has to be like good for right now. And then like you don't know where that will lead you. So I think that's another good point. I try to remind myself, it's hard sometimes, but just know that like you're not going to know the full picture. Use your best judgment, use everything that you have like to make the decision, go with it, because then once you get there, you'll be like, oh, okay. You'll look back and you'll realize it, and then that'll open up other doors, if that
Yes.
makes
I love that
sense.
you said that. It's like just focus on the most important next step, Like a lot of these things that we tackle, whether it's like a new hobby or a new skill that you're learning, or maybe you're buying a piece of real estate, it's like, yeah, we look at the entire process from point A to point B. There might be 100 things that you need to do. But it's like just look at it as like just take step 1 today, and then tomorrow take step 2, and then at that point you take step 3. But you know, like you said, you don't know what you don't know, right? And so it's like people are like, oh, like this is going to be the entire plan of my real estate portfolio, and this is exactly what it's going to look like. I'm like, no, just go do your first deal, because you don't know what you don't know, and you're going to get in that first deal, and you're going to see things from a different lens, a different perspective, and then you're going to be like, oh, okay, so this is how I'm going to do my next one, and this is what I'm looking for, and your perspective is going to change, what you want is going to change, and so like there's no reason you need to focus on that stuff. To just focus on the next thing, and I guarantee the more decisions you make, the more times you're going to make mistakes. And then the more mistakes you make, the more you're going to realize like, it's not a big deal to make a
Yeah.
mistake. Like it's not,
Yeah.
because you figure it out.
And like we talk about this a lot, and you were saying it recently, but with real estate specifically, with trying to hit a home run on your first deal, like yeah, that'd be great, but usually the first deal is not a home run, and it's a learning experience. So like it's not about hitting that home run; it's about the experience that you'll get doing it. So
Yes. No one retires off of their first real
yeah.
estate deal ever. So
Yeah, that would be nice, but not
it
not
would be nice.
realistic.
So the takeaway is, just to go full circle here, is like if you are one of those people when you feel stuck right now and this conversation is resonating with you, and you're like, you know what, that's me, and I'm challenged with this right now, and I have analysis paralysis, and I can't make a decision and go. Just focus on taking that next step and taking action, and you just know you're gonna make mistakes. Shit's gonna happen. Shit's gonna pop up. Things are not gonna go as according to plan. But guess what? If you actually give a fuck and you actually put a little thought into your strategy, you will freaking overcome those mistakes. You will level up because of those mistakes, and it's going to give you more confidence to go out there and take more action and make more decisions. And so don't be the person out there that takes an entire week to make one decision. Just make a decision and roll with it. Even like as simple as like going out to eat, and like I see some people like struggle to like figure out what they want to eat. It's like, who gives a fuck? Like those, we make so many decisions every day. I'm like, just freaking let's order and go. And you can apply those same fundamentals to a lot of aspects of life. And in all, at the end of the day, mistakes and failures is how we grow. And we pivot, we get better from them. And you'll look back a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, and be like, whoa, I am a changed person. I'm a better version of myself. I reinvented myself because, and you're going to see all the growth because you took action and you decided to make some decisions, and you're okay with the unknown. You're okay with making mistakes. And that's how the game works. And lastly, I'll say, those that wait for the perfect plan, those that wait for perfect conditions, a lot of those folks will always be on the sidelines and they never actually play the game. And for me, I don't know about you guys, I used to think, at the end of my career, I want to retire and I'm going to sit on the beach. But for me, like, I think the end game for me is to continue playing the game. And I know in order to do that, I got to continue making mistakes and continue taking action. And I'm addicted to the growth. Happiness stems from growth and progress. That said, I think that concludes this episode of the Saturday edition. She's Alex Johnson. New car, new place. I'm ready for the housewarming. I'm ready for the yacht meetup. I'm ready for our Beals and Deals. August 14th. If you listen to this, we would love to have you guys out. Carlton Dennis is going to be in the house. Hit us up. We'd love to hear from you guys. She's Alex Johnson. I'm Rich Summers. Listeners, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.